A pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Coles Brown. Here's our guest menu for today, December the 6th. Visiting with us will be Ossie Clark, who will join us as a special guest. What's trending here on the Coles Brown Show? Southern University wins the Bayou Classic. Oh, I'm so happy. After a tough season, the Jaguars get their second win of the season. They win the Bayou Classic, and old tough guy me had just eyes were watering all over the place. And also, I was the only one on the panel that picked Southern University to win. So I'm glad about that as well. Marshall Falk, now it's official, is the new head football coach at Southern University. We'll get into that as well. We got a SWAC football championship on the line today. Jackson State hosting Prairie View A&M. We'll get a look at that and also have a predictions. And, of course, we'll add in the SWAC football report. Now, let's introduce the panel, and I will say we have our super six man who could start anywhere. Ossie Clark will be joining us, Willa Brown, and Coach Van Pettaway. Good afternoon, Willer. Good morning,
Good,
Coach Pettaway, and good morning, Ossie.
good afternoon, everybody.
Good morning.
Well, I wanted to have a glass of champagne, but you know, I said I didn't want to gloat. Southern University wins the final game of the season, 28-27. It's another win for the Jaguars, and I was sitting in my man cave, just emotional. Tears came out of my eyes. Southern University got it done. They got it done. And everybody on the panel, I think last week had Grambling State. I could understand why. But for Southern University, they got it done. Panel, your thoughts on the Bayou Classic?
I guess you start with me, Carlos. You said you needed champagne. I needed something way stronger than that. Just to take the feel of hurt, pain, and disappointment totally off of me for that particular game. And here's the reason why. I'll say it just this way. It's not the loss that really bothered me. And it's not the fact that Southern was a 1-10 team, because anytime in the Bayou Classic, you can just basically do what we've always said, throw the records out of the window. The problem for me was the way you lose the game. After picking up a 3rd and 20 and then fumbling it at the end, just fumbling the bag, that was the thing that was probably the most heartbreaking thing of the day. If Grambling would have somehow thrown an interception or something else would have happened throughout the course of the game, a sack or whatever, you just kind of tip your hat and say, great game. But to lose the game on a fumble, man, that one was absolutely tough. And so champagne was not on my menu on last Saturday.
Also, you didn't want a nice tonic to help you feel better, but I've been on that side before, and it I just realized, although I always talk about the Southern and Jackson State rivalry, but the Grambling State and Southern rivalry is just that. It's family. But Grambling got off to a good start. Southern University got behind. They finally, in my opinion, played 4 quarters of football. Was it pretty at times? No. But they were able to rush for over 200 yards. And, something else at the after the game, he's a hardliner too, Coach McNair. You can see the emotion in his eyes, because it's a tough situation. You come in as an interim, you lose still some ball games, but then on the last game of the 2025 season, you get it done. And Grambling State fumbles the ball. Kelby Givens picks up the fumble, Walker caused the fumble, defensive end. So hats off to Southern University getting it done.
Carlos, like Coach
Hmm.
McNair said, those kids fought. They fought all year. I mean, we look at the last game being successful, that sort of thing, but those kids fought all year. They
Hmm.
just went through some tough times where things didn't go good for them, that sort of thing, and so for them to finally come out on the top end, I thought was just desserts for them, no doubt
Hmm.
about that. So I was real happy for them, even though I had picked Grambling. I was real happy for them. I was real happy for Coach McNair, and now it's time to see which way is up.
Yeah, Coach Pettaway. Oh, you muted, Coach Pettaway. You muted.
Great game, great atmosphere. Uh, I was happy for Southern. I mean, they won the game, but I did not pick them. I thought Grambling had enough to pull it out, but Southern played a great game. And then uh, Wheeler is right. Those kids from Southern, they fought all year throughout all this adversity. Those kids still went out. They competed. So it was great to see them go out that way. Uh, I sort of felt for Grambling and their fans because they had a great season going. But Southern won the game, and then they moved on to the next chapter.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see. Honestly, Grambling State coach for Grambling State, he has I guess, sit down after the season meeting, and I think they may look at doing a new contract for Grambling State, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I think Coach Joseph has all of the. I think he has momentum on his side, and I think he's in a good position to renegotiate his contract. I'll get a new one.
I honestly believe the same thing about Coach Joseph at this particular point. You take a Grambling State University team that had only won a couple of games and winning four last year, moving them Grambling to a 7-win season this season. I think the momentum is definitely on his side. I don't think anybody in Grambling technically is upset with the job that Coach Mickey Joseph has actually done. Do you want to win the Bayou Classic? Should it be a part of the next part of the negotiation? I absolutely do believe so. And I think that we have to get to the point that we start making it a priority for coaches to understand it is not just another game. Ohio State and Michigan is just not another game. The Bayou Classic is in that same vein. And so I think at some point you have to realize and get your coaches on that same page and say, hey, it's not another thing. We have to look at it from that standpoint. But overall, the Grambling State team with a fourth-string quarterback to be able to do what they were able to do this season is absolutely remarkable, especially at the end of the year when they needed to actually get it done. And so Coach Joseph has done a remarkable job. Now he's just got to get over the hump and win the Bayou Classic.
Well, he has something on his resume. Defeated Jackson State 2 years in a row. Um, Bayou Classic, yeah, it was a bitter loss, but if we can just imagine, I think he'll be looking at maybe a 2-year extension, maybe 3 years, but we'll have to see how the negotiating goes. Panna, what do you think? 2, 3 years extension?
3 years, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give them a couple. I'd go for two. It's just the
What?
it's just the hard it's just the hardliner in me. I go I
Wait a minute. Wait a
I
minute,
go for
Will.
two and an adjustment of the schedule to
Oh,
get California Bible off of it and
oh,
somebody else who shouldn't be there. When we go play a big boy schedule, and we continue to beat the big boys on a regular basis, then we can talk about some things from there. So I granted it was a 7-win season. I kind of look at 5 of them only really counting.
oh boy.
And but I would definitely do 2 more years extension, no doubt about that.
Wait a minute, Coach Fedaway. It seemed like he took a page out of my book.
Yeah, I know.
What's
That's
that,
all
2
that Antonio
years?
Brown contract.
Well, guess what? Now I've kind of upped that at least a 3-year minimum. But he's passionate, and again, Jackson State, you get a victory with that. You go play Ohio State. That's he'll be back. I think he'll be back. Also, what's trending? Finally, it is announced officially. Marshall Falk, the new Southern University football coach. I got a chance to see it online. I guess I'm telling myself because I was at work. And I came in and got a chance to see it. Coming across, I think he just came across straightforward. I want to see, he said, or as reported, 90% of his staff is already done. I'm told he'll be in the office officially Monday. And so I'm still wondering about that staff, but the press conference, I guess he won the press conference. A lot of accolades. If you remember him playing in the NFL, Pro Football Hall of Fame, already. They had some donations coming in from the fans, then also already raised money from the business perspective. And I think it's still going. And in his interview, he basically laid out a plan how you can help Southern University with those internal issues, facilities, and what have you. So he gets to start. And I saw somebody in the chat room say maybe I was going to blow a gasket. No, I'm not. Because I said a couple of weeks ago, whoever is named the head football coach, they got my backing. Just like I backed Dooley, Coach Graves when they was first hired. And so now, like the professor said, you have an A, the first day of class. Now, whether you keep it or not, we shall see. But I'm all aboard. Austin, Marshall Falk. Well, we're old enough to remember as a running back. He was a bad dude. And, I was told coming out of high school, most of the major schools that recruited him, including the one across town, wanted him as a defensive back. He said, nope, not doing it. I want to play running back. Went to San Diego State, 4-year career, the rest is history. Only 2 players in the history of NFL that have had 1,000 yards receiving and rushing in 1 year. I can't remember the second one for some reason.
Roger Craig.
Oh my, why I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But people have brought up, experience in the chat room. First year at Colorado, running back coach. So I think it's just going to be important to see if anybody, if it was Trey Oliver, if it was Deshaun Jackson, who were finalists, I still would be interested in the staff around them, how they get it. That is most important. And now with the transfer portal, and I've seen it already. Not just HBCUs, man, them kids are flocking in the portal. Mm-hmm. And now you only have a 1-month window. Mm-hmm. Now somebody texted me and wanted to know, wow, we didn't sign anybody. Well, the early signing period is mostly for the powers that be. Mm-hmm. Big time college football. Most of our recruits are going to come in the February traditional signing class. So with that being said, the staff is basically done. Oh, and Coach McNair is still recruiting. He's still officially on the staff. So I'm thinking
that's good.
He's probably going to be a holdover. And I think, this is my opinion, I think you'll see him on the sideline 2026.
Well, Carlos, I think the big thing that you said is that with Marshall Falk not having that head coaching experience, his staff is going to be real key. And then he, as the head coach, has to be open enough to listen to the guys who've done it before. And I think in any situation like this, a good head coach, he listens to his staff. He gets input from his staff. And I think if he comes in and if he does that, he'll be okay. Because now you take his playing experience, the coaches he's played up under, you know he has gained some knowledge about the game of football. So now in terms of coming up and putting together a game plan and all of these kind of things, he's got to rely on his assistants. And that's why I think his staff is going to be very important. Very important.
You know, it's
he's got to be open-minded too now, right, Wheeler? As a head coach, he's got to be open-minded to allow those guys to help him.
Ain't no doubt. Yep. You know, I wasn't a big proponent of the hire, you know, but he's there now, and you know, it pretty much is what it is. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, the nuts and bolts of the position is still the nuts and bolts of the position. You know, you got to be able to recruit kids. You got to be able to develop kids. You know, you got to make sure that they're going across the stage at the end of their eligibility. You know, that sort of thing. But, you know, I mean, hopefully he will listen to his staff. Hopefully he surrounds himself with knowledgeable people, and he's not the type that becomes threatened. You know, if there's somebody around him that knows a little bit more about what's going on than he does. You know, I don't want to look at it as a gimmick type hire or a celebrity hire, that sort of thing. But I guess, you know, it pretty much is what it is. And, you know, you got to call it what it is. But, you know, want nothing but the best for him, want him to succeed. No doubt about that, as I would anyone. And, you know, hopefully, like Coach Pettaway said, he's only going to be as good as the people he surrounds himself with. And that's going to be it at the end of the day.
Austin?
And I actually have to say, one of the things that could be a very great component for him is what you just said, Carlos, is having a man that's been around the Southwestern Athletic Conference for a very long time, and Coach Fred McNair. And not only a guy that's been around, that's played in the conference, but has also served as a head coach in this conference. You have a guy that can be a quality assistant that can help you to establish the program that you want at Southern University. And quality coaches are going to help to take the program from where it is to where Coach Falk would want his program to actually be. We already know that the most important components that you can have: offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, defensive coordinator, and then you throw in there somebody who can actually serve in the nutrition department to help keep your guys going, and strength and conditioning. If you can find quality guys or persons who can be in those positions along with Coach Falk, and then you keep Coach McNair who can help steer the ship along with Coach Falk, this could be a positive year for the Southern University Jaguars. I wish Coach Falk well as he begins his new position as a head coach at Southern University.
Yeah, you know, and you got to pay people. You got to pay people now. You know, let's not omit that. You know, if you want to surround yourself with quality people, you got to pay quality dollars in order to do so. You know, and hopefully that doesn't get lost in the sauce either. You know, because if you want to succeed and you want to be successful, you know, you got to show them guys that they appreciate it. You know, you got to pay them well. You know, if they're doing a good job, somebody else is going to come after them, that sort of thing. You know that. You know, so you want them to feel a certain kind of way all the time about being a part of your staff and being around you.
And, you know, that point coming up December the 19th, Southern University Board of Supervisors will have the details of the contract. You know, we've heard about the pool of money has exploded. Maybe I shouldn't use exploded, but much more in the pool. Now, based on some of the people I saw at the press conference, Curtis Johnson used to work in the NFL when Drew Brees was there. I saw Anthony Ballassier, who I remember him. He played for Southern University when Coach Stump Mitchell and Coach Odoms was there. and he was in the audience. So and I went and looked on the Colorado
Avery was
web,
there.
website. Yeah, Balance here was a quality analyst, and they had like 12 analysts. Wow. But yeah, Avery, Aeneas Williams, and they have all made nice contributions. They've started the money rolling in. So, and I wanted to put up a picture, but I didn't send it to our producer. But last week I said Jackson State. One of the Jackson State alums told me they don't have a covered practice facility where they can practice outside. They have, I thought they had a covering, but Nickel State does. And thanks to my niece, who's a student at Nickel State, she went by and shot the picture for me. Those were some of the things we put in place. Well, the athletic administration had put a plan together to get that done like 3 or 4 years ago, and nothing has happened. So now, some of the things that should have been done, or you could have started with, you could have done it even when Coach Dooley was here. But so now, one of the questions was, why wait now? Why you want to do it now? Well, of course, let's just be honest, because
Carlos, I
it's
tell
a
you,
Marshall fault.
I hope they don't make the man the fundraiser in chief, because the issues with Southern University football go deeper than that. You got to get out there. You got to pound that pavement and bring them kids in. You got to develop them kids. You got to put a quality product on the field. At the end of the day, that's going to be all that matters. If he raises a gazillion dollars, going to be well and good. At the end of the day, they're going to judge him on wins and losses.
The
Period.
losses.
So he's got to focus, his main focus, and people got to let him focus on that, and don't drag him all around John's Bond, trying to raise a buck, that sort of thing. Let the man do the job, the football job that you guys have hired him for. And that to me is going to be the most important facet of what goes on at Southern.
Doesn't it go back at the end of the day, wins and losses?
Yes, it does.
That was my point 4 weeks ago. When you set aside, people were upset about what happened. My thought was, you just can't, even if you have good reasons. That 1-6 was just very troubling, very troubling. No matter what ways, what happened, inner workings. That's the end of the day. So I do agree. X's and O's is what he's going to be judged on. And I'm going to sit back and watch the first year. You just want to be competitive. You want to get better. Each year, you get better. And at the end of the day, if you're in the discussion for championships, and if you win one, very good. But they've made their choice now. We've got I can't wait to see the staff that comes in. I want to see things at the back of the campus get moving.
Right.
And I have made a pledge to get at least a couple of them on and talk about what came behind the decision to have Coach Falk now as your next coach. What is your plan? What happens going forth? And I think
But
that's legit. I think that's legitimate and that's
but you
valid.
but you
Hey,
know
hey,
what, Carlos? You know what, Carlos? You guys, I mean, from what all indications, you guys have the top budget in the conference.
Hmm.
So there's a certain expectations that go along with that. I've always said that. There's no doubt about that. You guys are graded on a different curve, as opposed to somebody with the eighth best budget in the conference. There's no doubt about that at all. Having said that,
Hmm.
I would not have thought that budget or finances would have been the major issue behind, what is transpiring. I would think that maybe it's the allocation of funds, moving them around to where they need to be, establishing the importance of this sport or
Hmm.
that sport, or things of that nature, that would be the order of the day. And like I said, that's just me outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
I look at a budget of 18 million or whatever it is. I see the dollars that are there. You know, is there some way we could have juggled things to kind of get what we needed to have in terms of locker room space, in terms of weight room space, that sort of thing? Could we have set up some financial whatever it is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're making monthly payments or what have you, whatever it is we need to do, could we set aside some guaranteed funds specifically for those particular areas? I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
playing enough guarantee games, so to me, it's a matter of allotment where you put this funding, and if it means cutting down on some sports, I mean, then so be it. Nobody says you have to have 18, 19, 20 sports. If you got the NCAA minimum and you're funding them properly and everybody's thriving and doing, what needs to be done, which in the other sports you guys are doing a fantastic job, So, I mean, to me, there's a deeper issue there in place that definitely needs to be looked at on top of the other issues.
Right. Hey, Wheeler, Carlos, you all help me with this. The practice facility. When you say a covered practice facility, does that
Mm-hmm.
control temperature?
No, not the one that Nickel State has, and it's a cover, it's an
It's just an
overhang,
outside cover. It's just an
right? No,
outside cover over the field.
So
no,
all it's
no,
doing
no
is preventing
sides.
rain. It's stopping
Well,
rain.
Well,
basically,
if it
I
don't
mean,
come from the side, you're all right.
if it's like, yeah, I don't know. Now in Baton Rouge, you have some crazy weather where the wind will shift, um, but Nickel State has a nice one. UAB, Alabama Birmingham has one, and this is the one similar that they wanted to put in a plan that was submitted to. When I say the back of the campus, over athletics, and they haven't. It was just sitting there, a plan. So,
And you know what, Coach Petaway, you can
mhm,
probably always make a tent type thing out of that. Drape the sides. So you
Right,
know.
because
yeah.
to me, if it's not controlling temperature, I don't see what the purpose.
Or you can be outside when it's raining on your field, inside the stadium. Um, nah, I like what I saw what Nickel State has. I really do, and I'm gonna put the picture up
Okay.
next week. And it hey, any facility that you can get to help you out,
Right. I agree. I
go
agree
for it.
because they're building one here at A&M.
Hmm.
They're getting a covered practice facility.
Okay, it's covered
Right.
like the actual building structure.
I'm not sure. That's what I got to
Hmm.
find out. But it's interesting that when we sometimes we talk about budgets and money. Well,
Hmm.
when you add these different kind of things, where does all that money come from? Now I'm gonna tell you something. I had an opportunity to sit in this past week on and I did learn a lot from this on the HBC Beyond the Game.
Hmm.
Dr. Cavill them had a symposium on A&M's campus this past week, and I got an opportunity to sit in. I learned a lot. That like I did not know. Like at A&M now, they started saving money 3 years ago to get
Hmm.
ready for the NIL and the collective.
Hmm.
And Dr. Bryan announced, but not announced. He said at the symposium that the Alabama A&M, there are 3 teams on our campus that have collective NILs for the kids,
Hmm.
and that he and the president started this thing 3 years ago. And Wheeler, you'll like this. They took each year they took a portion of the
Mm-hmm.
game guarantees
Uh-huh.
and set it
And set
aside
them aside.
Mm-hmm.
for this.
And that's what you
And
do.
and that should help. But
Mm-hmm.
I just want to send a shout out to Dr. Cavill for what they're doing, going all across the campus country to these HBCUs and imparting this knowledge on these kids, man. They had a lot of kids in attendance at that event on this past week, and I was real impressed, man. They do a great job with that.
And you
Yeah.
know what, Coach? By the way, athletically, you can finance a bottle of water now if you want to. You know, everything is fair game. You know, and if you finance the facility piece of it, you know, and dedicate 150,000 of guaranteed money towards that on a yearly basis, 10 years, you at what, 1.5,
Yep,
1.6? You
yep.
know, you've gotten it done, and you know you're moving on to the next issue or the next challenge.
I wish I could have been there. I would have asked him, can we get those guaranteed basketball games? Can we get more? Can we get more than 2% back? Thank you, Keith. He says the canopy reduces the heat on the turf field significantly. You know, even though it's not raining and storming, the heat, you know, coming, that cover does help out. Thank you there, Keith, who's a Jackson State alum.
Oh, okay.
Hey, honestly, I'm trying to get whatever I can for Southern University. Look,
Hey,
yeah,
I'm just just sitting here thinking, hey, something is better than a whole lot of nothing, especially when you've been out in the Louisiana heat for a number of years and you've had to endure those brutal summers and trying to go out there and have practices in that heat. A covering is nice, especially if that covering comes with some kind of fan or whatever it is to help keep the climate cool and keep the players definitely healthy. So I would take that any day of the week. Now, an indoor practice facility would be even better.
yeah.
Yeah. Now I've seen that. I've seen that on the high school level. I've had the opportunity to visit 2 different high schools that had indoor football practice facilities. So it's nice. Now that's what I'm saying about was it climate control? You know, does it help? So yeah, as long as it's helping with the climate, that's good. To me, it's got to do more than just block the rain. It's got to help those kids with the climate, and that's good. With the temperature.
You still get a little heat now, and you still got to
Yeah.
go out in the hot.
But it's not as much though. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian, thanks. Brian's producing today. He says he has a picture of the Nickel State.
Oh, I would love to see it. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh boy, even a better shot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you see the sides? Well. See it's open. Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to know why this plan wasn't executed earlier. Now I've got a chance to see ULL. They have a indoor practice facility, but it goes up, and one of their big sponsors is a siding company, and it actually goes up about 4 or 5 stories. Believe it or not.
Now look on that shot right there. What your kickers gonna do?
Well, they can go outside.
What the kickers gonna do?
They
can go outside. Because you know they be practicing.
Coach Pettigrew, they ain't never in the heat that long anyway.
No, but what I'm saying, how they gonna get their practice in is what I'm saying. How they gonna get their kicks in?
They'll make the sacrifice. They'll be outside kicking.
They're real warriors then. They're the real warriors.
Well, you know, they always practice kind of separate while everything's going on. Then they come and practice on a special team segment. But thanks, Brian. That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And that would help. So again, I'm gonna try to get some of the athletic chairman of the Board of Supervisors Committee on, and also another guy there. It's Brian says it's surprisingly high enough for kickers. Seen it for myself at South Alabama.
Oh, okay.
It would be nice. Well, we're gonna take a timeout. When we come back, we'll kind of get our predictions. Southern, again, wins the Bayou Classic 28-27, but there's a SWAC championship game going on. We'll give our predictions. I'm sorry, I know it's painful, but
Just rub it in. Just go ahead on. Keep rubbing it in, Carlos.
but Austin, it reminded me when Grambling State came in the game 8-2. Southern that came in, I think, with 2 victories, and they won 50-20. I think Otis Washington was the coach then, and so you've been on both sides of this rivalry. You know, like with Southern Jackson State, boy, every day they let me know they've won what 7 in a row. Oh boy, yeah, that's how it goes. Some teams just match up better with others. But we'll take a time out when we come back. There'll be more of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a state, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
College football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown, joined by Ossie Clark, Coach Van Pettaway, and A.D. Willer Brown. Someone in the chat room asked where Charles was. He was off this Saturday because he's bowling.
Yep.
And he started to bowl at 11 o'clock, so we wish him a good game. I don't think he'll get a perfect game, but he's an avid bowling person. And you know, bowling is an interesting sport. I worked in the bowling industry for 7-8 years, and it's very competitive. The different leagues, and in this sense, women and men, it's no really big difference in bowling. I've known some ladies that can bowl their behinds off.
Yes.
I also know some men, so it's a good sport. So Charles is bowling, so he'll join us next time. Now, next Saturday, I'm flying out Friday to the Celebration Bowl, so we'll make an announcement during the week if we will have a show. You know, it's the Easter time, and the Celebration Bowl will start about 11 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Right.
So we will make a notice on if we will be having a show next week. Southern University over Grambling State 28-27. Sorry about that, Aussie. 63,000. That's good attendance. Good attendance when one team didn't have a great record, the other one had a better record, but it's just more than a football game. It's family, really. Southern University and Grambling State. So congratulations to Coach McNair and winning, helping Southern University win the football game. Southern University had over 200 yards rushing, 204. Honestly, Grambling State only had 85. I was kind of surprised with Grambling State in the running game. Southern University threw for 148. Grambling State 215 total offense, 352 for Southern University, 300 for Grambling State. And I tell you, that kicker for Grambling State, he literally scared me to death because you remember he hit the game-winning field goal against Jackson State, and boy, he missed a critical one in the Bayou Classic. But I thought he was going to hit it.
That was probably the play that inside the fumble. That was the biggest play that made the biggest difference at that particular point. Because you have to think, there was a penalty that gave Grambling better field positioning, and then to come back in from McCormick to miss the field goal again, that was detrimental to Grambling at that particular point. And for many people that were watching the game, they kept saying you cannot allow a sleeping giant to wake up. And that's what Grambling did. They allowed the Jaguars to stick around, and they messed around and they found out.
And you know, go ahead, Willie.
You know what, Carlos? I say this. You know, Holly ain't bad, but what's the name? Ashbury's son, he ain't bad either.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep, a freshman.
That boy can run the ball.
Right. And hey, Willer, that's why I said earlier about 2 weeks ago that whoever's going to coach this team, the first thing they need to do is make sure that running back room stay intact.
Yeah. That boy,
they got some talent in that running back room. Yep.
I like to hold on to him if at all possible. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's a freshman. Yep, he's Coach Darryl Asbury's son. Played for Southern Lab, so he stayed on the campus. He grew up around Southern. But the MVP of the Bayou Classic was Barry Remo. 5'8", played for Catholic High School in Baton Rouge. He had 7 carries, 100 yards. Remember he broke that long, about 50. And I believe he's a redshirt freshman. So yeah, now some people are like, no, the running back room, keep all of them. But you also had some that the number one receiver transferred out, defensive tackle, and I think it'll be more because you see a lot of people transferring out in the conference. FAMU had some. I hadn't seen many that with Jackson State, but I probably after Celebration Bowl, you may see some transfer out. It's just the nature of it now, and you look at a lot of, and only about 50% or less will land with a new program.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So that's
And
that is. Mhm.
and the window for the portal is going to close relatively quickly. It's open now, but
Yes, sir.
from January the 2nd to I believe January the 16th. So you only have about 14, 15 days. So if you don't get picked up in that time, uh, that could be a very detrimental positioning for your status as a student athlete.
Yep.
Yeah, it's you have a certain period now, time frame, and then that's it. Also, um, McCoy came in and threw a couple of good passes, and one big one when he had to strike for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Southern University they just fought all 4 quarters, and they were able to get it done. So we take that victory and now now move on. A SWAC championship game. Prairie View A&M and Jackson State, and I believe Brian has a graphic for us, a tale of the tape. He'll put that up for us shortly. But predictions off the bat. Well, here we go. Prairie View A&M and Jackson State. Prairie View, third in scoring, 31 points a game. Jackson State, second. Points allowed per game, Prairie View number 1, Jackson State number 2. Wow, all you see is 1 and 2s, huh? Total offense, Prairie View third, Jackson State number 1. Total yards allowed per game, Prairie View number 1, Jackson State number 2, giving up 317, Prairie View 269. But you know what? I really believe Jackson State's defense, I said a couple of weeks ago, that's going to be the difference. And we'll see. But Prairie View and them statistically right there and better in some cases. So on paper, it seems to be it's going to be a very close ball game. But honestly, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as close. The weather is going to affect both sides, both teams. But I just think Jackson State, I predict them to win this football game. They're at home, and I look for them to get it done. Now, is Jacoby Morgan's going to play, or do you go back with the freshman? And he hasn't done bad in the backup role to me. But I like
And,
Jackson
and,
State.
and the and and the biggest question for me is Jacoby Morgan going to be playing? Because if he does, I definitely give the edge to the Jackson State Tigers at this particular point because he can bring so much more to the game. That ability to be able to move the pocket. He's the ability to be able to go downfield on the play action passes. He's pretty solid when you just think about it. He can do everything that you would want him to do. And so I think with Jacoby Morgan playing that quarterback, that gives Jackson State just a little bit of an edge because he's already been in these situations before and he knows what to do and knows how to get the job done. The flip side of that is I've watched Prairie View A&M University play this year, and I've had a chance to watch them via SWAC TV, did a couple of games this year. And one of the things that I can definitely say about this Prairie View A&M University team is defensively, they are rock solid. They
Mhm.
don't make very many mistakes. The game that you saw that they made plenty of mistakes in was against Alabama State, and Alabama State came back and they won that football game. Probably the worst game that you've seen defensively from Prairie View this year. But you're talking about Coach Tremaine Jackson, who's done a great job with that team. But defensively, I think Prairie View can match them. The question will be, can Prairie View put points on the board in this football game? Is going to be the biggest question that I have.
I think you go back with Morgan. I think you go back with Morgan. Normally I'm a proponent of, sticking with the hot hand, that sort of thing. But there's such a talent gap between Morgan and, the kid that has replaced him, that sort of thing. My thing is, if Morgan's ready to go, you got to get him back out there, and let him do what he does. The team rallies around him. You can tell. It's just almost a different team when he's out there on the field. Everybody kind of plays a little bit more above their head a little bit, that sort of thing. And those are things that you want in your starting quarterback. So, if Morgan's ready to go, young boy, young fella, you got to take a little back seat right now. You'll get your shot, come the off season, that sort of thing. But we got to go back with the top dog.
Yeah, I'm looking in the chat room to your point, Wheeler. Emmett says Jackson State has two good quarterbacks, but I think TC will start Jacoby Morgan today to knock the rust off in anticipation of Celebration Bowl rematch with South Carolina State. I just think the young fella's not bad at all. Not bad at all.
He's not a bad quarterback at all.
Yeah, because he's come in and sometimes you have a big drop off between 1 and 2. Sometimes you don't have as big a drop off, but I think he's handled himself very well. Has he made a few mistakes? Yes, but I think the future's bright with him. 6'5", strong arm. I think he'll get better as he gets more playing time. But prediction time. I said Jackson State is going to win, and guess what? You ready for this? I think they win by double digits.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, now I'm not gonna go that far. Now I think JSU. I think Jackson State will win also, but I'm not going by those double digits. I think it'll be a much closer game because I think on that second graphic you showed where Prairie View, when it comes to pass defense, man, they're doing a pretty good job now. Only giving up 116. Whoa, they're doing it on the defensive end. So I don't see Jackson State running away or having a double-digit win, but I'm going to go with JSU, but I think it'll be a lot closer than double digits.
I had a 14-point win for Jackson State at first. I've kind of narrowed it down to 10. I also
still double digit, huh, Wheeler?
Yeah, still double figures. So it amounts to pretty much the same thing. If Prairie View's schedule to me, they didn't play all the big dogs. Jackson State played everybody that was out there. And I mean, granted, Prairie View ain't have anything. Coach ain't had nothing to do with the schedule. He just played, the people that lined up in front of him, that sort of thing. And so you got to respect that. But if he'd have played some more of the big dogs during the regular season, the swing may be a little bit closer. But I just think Jackson State just got too much for those guys right now. And especially being at home on top of that, it kind of is what it is on that one.
Well, you know what's brought up? Alabama State. Okay, that was a loss, but a close loss. And then, do you remember the Alcorn State game? Alcorn State missed field goal. They defeated Prairie View. And that was kind of when Alcorn State was struggling before they kind of went on that run. So those are two sample size that you can look at. But toward the end of the season, the teams they were supposed to beat, they really put the numbers on them.
All right, so now I'm anxious to hear what Ozzie has to say about it. He's seen them live, and he's seen them multiple times. So I'm anxious to hear what he's got to say.
I've actually, like I said, I had a chance to really do the game between them and Pine Bluff, and like you said, they put points on Pine Bluff. They did a great job offensively that day. Defensively, they being Prairie View, they're rock solid. They play that 3 down front. They basically have 3 linebackers and 5 defensive backs, and most of the times, they're coming from different angles at you, but they don't necessarily blitz a lot. So they're a tough team that allow their 3-down linemen to take on blocks and allow those backside guys to roam and make plays. They're probably one of the best teams that I've seen in rally and recover than any team that I've seen this year in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. They get to the football effectively, and they get there and they make tackles. And so the one thing that I would definitely say for Jackson State, I don't see it being a double-digit game, but I definitely can see it being a 17-14 Jackson State football game, just because I give the experience to Coach T.C. Taylor and Jackson State and those guys because they've been in this situation before. I understand that Coach Tremaine Jackson brought guys in from Valdosta State, and they were in the NCAA, the championship game on their end. But this is a different set of circumstances that they're playing under today. If you're going to be successful, you're going to have to figure it out against a team that's been there and done that multiple times in the conference. I'm going with Jackson State, and I'm saying 17-14 Tigers.
I got you. Well, Carlos, I was very impressed with Prairie View when I saw them live. When they came to Huntsville and thumped us, I mean, just seeing them on the field and the way, just how hard they play and how fast they play, man. You know, I was very impressed. So, see, I think a lot of times when you watching them on television is different, but when you see them jugglers live, man, you can really tell a lot about a team and their athletic ability and that kind of stuff. So, I was really impressed with them. And
Coach, can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead.
I was on the field at Prairie View during the warm-ups. Prairie View is a team that does not lack confidence. And so what Coach is telling you, when you see them in person, there is no doubt that they come absolutely prepared to play football. Their mindset is they are the best team on the football field until somebody beats them.
Yep.
I just think Jackson State's better. That's my
my
prediction. And I'm not a fan of that 3-3-5, Aussie. I don't know. I guess I'm old school. I think Jackson State's going to run right at them.
Well, you know what? You know what, Carlos? I would agree with you about the 3-3-5 defense. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it either. But what they do from a schematic standpoint out of it, it confuses most of the teams that they've played this year. Many times they're in that 3 front, and those guys are not big. They're not big guys up front. They're athletic, but they're not big. They know what their responsibility is up front. Their job is to get in the gap, maintain a gap, and allow guys to be Troy Polamalu-ish around the football. Just go and attack and go make plays. And they do a great job of that. And then when they get you in third and long situations, they're only usually rushing those 3 front guys and dropping the 8. And most teams have a hard time trying to decipher, how do we find somebody in this this drop 8 that they're actually in. Nobody knows how to put those guys in a conflict where they have to make decisions. And so Coach Tremaine Jackson has done a really good job, along with his defensive coordinator, of getting those guys ready to play. But again, I'm with you. I go experience in this situation. Coach Taylor's been there in this situation. I think I have to give them the edge overall, even though Prairie View, like I said, they don't lack confidence whatsoever. They're going to be ready to play.
And you know what else? We should look too. I know the previous times when Southern and Jackson State played for the championship, Jackson State started so fast. You know, they come out and hit you in the mouth and how you respond. It's going to be interesting to see if that's the same kind of early performance that Jackson State has in this game. But it should be very interesting. Statistically, they all line up together, 1 and 2 in most categories. It'll start at a little bit after 1 p.m. Central.
Yeah.
Can Jackson State get the back-to-back SWAC football championship. And somebody in the chat room was like, Carlos, you keep saying the SWAC championship is the Jackson State Invitational. Okay, smarty pants. Go ahead, Coach Petaway.
Yeah, I just hope that I think it's going to be a very physical game, and we all know that the winner of this game goes on to beat South Carolina State. I just hope we don't get banged up to the point where we're not 100% for that game also now. But because I do believe this is going to be a very hard-hitting and physical game.
Well, I could play devil's advocate. South Carolina State is fresh, right? But it could be some how much hitting you could do in practice for 2 weeks, just try to get yourself together. So it can kind of flip some rust.
Well, number one, Carlos, you're going to give those kids some time off. So that off week they probably didn't practice Monday. They probably won't practice Monday and Tuesday, and and then kind of crank it back up from there. But I've always been a proponent of let's play. Let's play every week. No break in between, that sort of thing. And that's just me. I think the rust has a tendency to hurt you more than help you. So that part's going to be interesting also to see who's rusty and who's ready to play. Last year South Carolina State showed a lot of rust there, especially early on. They were cramping up, that sort of thing and stuff. Whereas I think if they had played the week before or didn't have that time, they would not have been in that particular mindset or frame of mind.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. Now that I think about it, and also since the MEAC probably in the near future will never have a MEAC championship, they'll always have that rest in between. But you still got to go out and play. And Jackson State wins, it'll be a rematch from last year, and then you'll see South Carolina State get redemption. They'll be ready to play with Coach Berry.
Oh, no doubt.
Now, yes, sir.
Now, if Purview happens to win, still they would have played today. They still only a week off. They'll go right into it. So yeah, I can see both ways, but I agree with you, Will. I'd like to go ahead and play, if all possible. But just my opinion. Yeah, South Carolina State was fresh last year too. Yeah. Well, I'm going for the SWAC. Whoever wins. When I'm in Atlanta next week, I'd go with the Southwestern Athletic.
Yes, sir.
And so that even pains me at first if it's Jackson State, but look, I got over it. I gotta report the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Well, if you're just tuning in, we've talked Bayou Classic, Barry Remo, MVP, Southern University, over 200 yards rushing, 63,000 in attendance. We also discussed Marshall Falk, new Southern University football coach, and there were some interesting comments in the chat room about the staff. And I was also told that he's always had a good IQ football-wise. He had a year experience at Colorado as a running back coach. Now, 90% of his staff was reported this week that was in place. I'm sure it's 100% now if they're starting Monday in the office. Also, Coach McNair is still on staff and recruiting for Southern University. And we've had this conversation how we thought that would be a good situation for him to be a holdover. You've seen it in the past. Some coaches will stay over a year, and then they go elsewhere. I remember when Coach Mitchell came on at Southern University, Coach Dooley was held over for in between time at least. I'm not sure if it was a year, but he was on the staff, and then eventually he went on to Arkansas Pine Bluff the following season. So expectations are still high. As I told someone now, as a media standpoint, it's going to be a lot of media going forward. So even
Carlos,
that,
I wouldn't be surprised if Coach McNair was not a popular guy at the coaches convention. You
which is this
know,
weekend, right?
I think there'll be quite a few people trying to get
Yep.
him on their staff
Mhm.
at that convention. You know, so what I would like to see is how things transpire after the convention. You know, everything's
Mhm.
kind of vanilla right now, as it should be. You know, and you know, hopefully he will stay on board. But you know, like I said, he's gonna be a popular guy at the convention. You don't be around as long as he's been around. You know, and not have developed the kind of
Mhm.
relationships that people see. You know, if I can get this guy on my staff, then I want to go ahead and throw a few dollars his way and bring him on in.
Right.
Valid point. And if he moves on, I would personally thank him for what he's done, and I'd be happy for him to get the opportunity as a head coach or as an assistant coach, somewhere else. There are still some openings. We talked to Brian Fuller before the show um, started. FAMU, you look in the conference. There also have been some discussions or talk, nothing official. University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. When SWAC football media day starts, I say in 2026, there'll be some new faces.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You can look at the handwriting that is already on the wall, and I don't want to come out and just say if you lose to Mississippi Valley 2 years in a row, chances are you're going to get fired.
Uh-oh. Brian.
Hey, now
point,
I was
point well
thinking the
taken,
same thing. I
Alfie.
just didn't
Point
want to
well
say that
taken.
though. Yep, yep.
And it's unfortunate because I see Mississippi Valley making strides at getting better. And they're not going to be a bad football team in the future for Coach Buckley if he decides to stay at Mississippi Valley. But to lose the way that you have lost, and not just lose to Valley, think about this. You lose to Bethune-Cookman at the end of the game,
Yep.
basically on a Hail Mary where you let a guy get behind you. That's
Right.
just football 101, that you just don't allow those things to happen. And so right now, I just don't see, especially at Florida A&M, I don't see coach coming back this year. And like you said, a couple of other schools will be in same predicament when we get to the SWAC Media Day. And you hate for those guys. You're not saying, no, that they're bad human beings. No, they're not bad human beings. But right now, when you have people who believe in winning and winning at all costs, especially high fan bases like we have in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, one minute they love you and the next minute they can hate you. Or in the next breath, in some situations, they can hate you. So right now is one of those situations where um, you would definitely see some turnover when it comes to the conference and the coaching department.
And Carlos, I don't
Mhm.
like the way Colsey's playing his hand right now because it seems like he's blaming everybody but himself. And from a head coaching point of view, you got to own it.
Yes, sir.
You got to own it. You own the wins. You got to own those losses. You got to own the shortcomings, that sort of thing. And him blaming the administration changeover and the fact that they've had a couple presidents in the last year or so, that sort of thing, just seems like he's trying to spread that blame around instead of just owning it. And I think it was set better if he just owned up.
Yeah, I've used the example. I'm a coach. I'm at a press conference. It buck stops with me.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know,
Always.
I own it. It may have been other factors, but I'm up here at this podium saying it's my fault. I told you my brother said he would fire me if I was if I had a team and they started off 1-5 and 1-6. He said I love you to death. He calls me slick, but slick I'd fire you behind. and we'll still be brothers afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But that's a tough situation. Yeah, Mississippi Valley State has FAMU's number. You know.
And I don't, again, and I'm not saying this to sound harsh, but Coach Cozy also not owning it also understands that he still has another job, because you have to remember last year Coach Cozy was calling softball games in the tournament.
Yeah.
So he's actually got other things as established for himself in case this doesn't work out very like he would want it to.
Well, that softball position doesn't pay like that football. I know
They
that.
sure don't. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not.
He ain't
And I totally concur with you.
you. That's for sure. He ain't paying the mortgage with that, baby.
I totally understand it. I get it. I'm not. I wouldn't disagree with you at all. I'm just saying the brother says I at least have a paycheck coming.
Yeah,
Right.
it might be bringing in burger and fries.
That's it.
It ain't bringing no T-bone, baby.
No steaks, no filet mignon, but
Yeah.
And I look from the outside looking in. FAMU's had multiple directors of athletics. They've had turnover at the top level. And I know politically the board, the president now, a lot of them don't like her. But I just wish them the best, and I wish, everything they get straight that needs to be straightened out. I'm not gonna make fun at them, because I've seen in this conference the politics, the board of trustees, the board of supervisors. I've seen what can happen. So I wish them the best going forward, and they can get things straight. And stability is a good thing to have, particularly in the athletic department and influence, the back of the campus, as I always say.
Right. And but Carlos, I need to throw a little dig at you and Ozzy. You all talk about the attendance, 63,000. That is still nice, but you do know the number one attended game in HBCU was the Madison City Classic at over 69,000. So I just had to put that in there now. I just had to put that in there for you and Ozzy. Now I love y'all to death, man.
For the record,
Coach
Federway, for the record. For the
record.
record.
Yeah. For the record, now it's still 69 is higher than 62. Yeah, so I just want y'all to know that now, okay?
That is fact. That is fact. You can't doubt that.
Let me throw another little thing out to get you all to go on. We got Prairie View and Jackson State in the SWAC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have the two best teams in the game?
No.
In the SWAC?
No. In my opinion.
Overall, I would say Alabama State and Jackson State. But we're not breaking up. No, I still like divisions, Coach Pettaway.
Okay, that's what I was going to bring up. Okay, if you have divisions, how is it fair to say that one team is better than the other when you don't play it, when you're not playing, everybody's not playing the top tier teams?
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, we're not, okay, well, how do you say this without sounding bad? Let's say two of your games are Valley and Arkansas Pine Bluff. You play Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Valley, and I'm playing Southern and Prairie View. Well, how does that make sense? How does that make sense now?
You saying like as far as Jackson State schedule?
No, any team. Okay. What I'm saying is, unless you're playing the top tier teams, how do you determine who's the strongest team in the league?
Well, sometimes they do play each other in certain years.
Sometimes that's my point.
But the divisions and the way it's set, hey, Prairie View said, look, we didn't play some of the top teams, but we beat everybody in our division. And so they're in there. I just, Coach Pettaway, I'll just be honest with you. I like the divisional play. Now, you're asking me the top two teams, Jackson State and Alabama State were the top two teams. Now, if Alabama State would have ran the play to the other side of the field, they would be in the championship game. And that was a heck of a game. But, people said, no, they ran it to the short side of the field. That was the best way. I disagree. Should have ran it to the other side. But to your point, the best two teams overall, body of work, Jackson State and Alabama State. But the divisional play, Prairie View, is the representative from the Western Division. Now, anybody else got something to add to that? I don't know.
But I still think, Carlos, even if they would have ran the play to the other side, Alabama State wins, okay? Just for the sake of putting it out there. Jackson State still one of the top two teams in the league, regardless. So I think, you might reverse the order between Alabama State and Jackson State, but still the top two teams in the conference would have been Alabama State and Jackson State, regardless of whether or not Jackson State won that game or not, to me.
But I said we have divisional play set up. and I don't hold your breath to say that, okay, let's strike the divisions down.
It won't happen.
Yeah,
it
won't. It won't. The commissioner is dead set against it from what I've read, and he's going to do everything in his power to keep the status quo.
Yeah, and then I start thinking about from this standpoint, and I don't know, you guys have been on this level a little longer than I have, and Coach Pettaway, you can actually speak to this a little bit better. From a football standpoint, now I think 12 teams in the conference?
Right. Yes.
So you have 12 teams in the conference. That only leaves you with one preseason or out of the division or out of the conference type of football game that you could play every single year. And so if you start playing every game, which again, if that's what everybody would want to see, I'm down for whatever at this particular point. But that would only leave you with one regular season game, and then the rest of them would be conference games. And then you try to come up with a way of being able to figure out who are the best two teams out of this bunch of teams, and then you put them in a championship game. Sometimes it can be a little bit more convoluted trying to figure out how do we get to the end result than it is just to see who's the best two teams out of that deal. So, like I say, I'm for whatever's the best way of getting the best two teams in. But right now, I don't ever see us breaking it away from the conference side where we have an East and a West division. I don't even see us kind of taking it away from a standpoint of even some people will start probably belly aching about travel. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be a big deal or not, but you could, get these different factors that come into play that you wouldn't want to see come into play. And so I just think right now, your split between your East and your West is probably going to be the best. It just happens to be that you have two of the, unfortunately, weaker teams that are on the other side of the division, that are on the eastern side of the division when it comes to football. And so it's an unfortunate set of circumstances, but this is where we are.
Yeah, I don't think it'll change anytime soon. With the Eastern Western Division are taken away and just have no division, just one division and everybody play. Then do you want to add another conference game? Let's say if you would expand in the future, some conferences talking about, well, we need to do like SEC. They're talking about adding another conference game, but albeit they've got more teams in there. I just think you keep it as is until you can convince people otherwise that just having no divisions would be the best way to determine the championship.
The best way to do that, Carlos, and bottom line is going to be for a lot of people, does it make money? If it makes money, it's going to make sense to a lot of people.
Yeah, then you cut off one of those guarantee games.
Heaven forbid, right?
Then that's a whole nother set of problems. And now I think basically it's been 2 years in a row that FCS football teams have played 12 regular season games. Is it permanent now? I think
it's going to become permanent.
Permanent. Okay.
You know, simply because, you know, with that lawsuit and all that other stuff, NIL and all that sort of thing, you know, they want to give the schools an opportunity to get more revenue, and you do that by increasing the schedule.
Yeah, because I think Southern schedule is almost done. It'll be an announcement coming up in about 2 weeks for that final game. They've got 11 done. They're waiting on the 12. I've heard rumors about who that 12 game will be, and I'm thinking it's going to be the Pete Richardson Classic. But I better hold my my tongue on that one. But I kind of heard something in the wind about a team that went to the Division II playoffs, HBCU. So that'll make your mind wondering. It was about 4 or 5 of them, right, that made it.
You better not fool with Albany State. It better not be Albany State now, because they rolling pretty good.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Coach Gray.
FAMU's next coach.
Well, that's what I was about to say, because, you know, people have been talking about that could happen if they make the move.
Coach Graves?
Coach Gray.
No.
Okay.
Quinn Gray.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I saw him play at Mumford Stadium. Hell of a player. And they're getting it done. Also, Hampton still has an opening.
Yep, Hampton is not the job that it used to be because of the conference they're in. See, because of the conference they're in, it does not have the allure that it once had.
Ain't been the same job since Taylor left.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Well, and then they go into another conference. It's just interesting. They've struggled in that conference.
Yep.
Will, along with your alma mater.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. And some people say, well, they shouldn't have left. I think you went on the record and said you were not for that move.
They shouldn't have. But, you know, I mean, I can understand why they did what they did, but doesn't make it the right thing in my mind. But, you know, being an old MEAC guy myself, you know, naturally I'm going to have some leanings in that direction at the end of the day. But especially coming off of the way that, you know, A&T was, I ain't gonna say dominating, but doing very well.
Very well.
In the conference. And you know, so but it's done. You try to make the best of it, and we'll see what happens moving forward.
Hey, Carlos, before you get out of here today, I want you to give your Lady Jag some love now.
Oh, that was coming up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. 70-67, Arizona, previously undefeated. And, you know, you go on their website and just, I always go, guys, and look at the comments. After that, some people are like, oh, well, you know, Arizona's not that good, and then they lost to a team that they shouldn't have. Duh. Are you an engineer?
Yeah.
And gave up the check.
Yeah. They probably won't get asked to come play them again, huh?
Right.
And I would be like,
no
fine.
time soon.
That would be fine, because the next time if we played, you have to come to the FG Clark Activity Center, and they're not going to do that.
And you know that ain't happening.
So I got the check, I got the win. I call it a win-win.
Absolutely.
But I was looking at
win-win and win.
And you look at Southern schedule. I believe I read it was the #1 strength of schedule in the country. Look at the team Southern has played.
Wow.
And they get their second win. Now, on the men's side, quietly, They're getting it done, Coach Johnson. Now, they got a big one coming up. They're going to be playing Texas on the SEC network. Watch that Southern basketball team. They compete hard. They compete hard. So as a conference, we've gotten some good quality wins.
Right. Arkansas Pine Bluff won.
Yep.
Pine Bluff won their first game. They beat UIC 63-62 up in Chicago. And then, of course, A&M destroyed Tennessee State at home. And we just had some good wins, non-conference wins in basketball on men and women's side. But for your Lady Jags to take down Arizona, that's big. That was huge, man. That was huge.
Mm-hmm. And again, the number one strength of schedule, as far as playing the teams. I think they're at Houston coming up. They're gelling well. They're playing hard. And yes, it's going to prepare them for conference play. But when you get in conference, though, Coach Pettaway, your brethren and sister, they know you well. Not like some of those non-conference games. So it'll be a battle on the women's side and the men. Bethune-Cookman, Southern University, and Alabama State. Watch those teams. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a battle throughout the regular season. And then all 12 teams will participate in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes me nervous again for some reason. I don't know why. Because you can get hot at the right time. Say Bethune-Cookman wins the regular season, then they get knocked off in the tournament by Alabama State.
Yeah. Then they weren't supposed to be there. Then they weren't as good as they thought they were.
Yeah, but also a team can get hot at the right time.
That's true too.
But they have been some good games, and I think again they're going to be. I can't wait. The conference on men and the women's side is going to be some tremendous battles. But shout out to Southern University defeating Arizona. 70-67, and you're right. They won't be on the schedule no time soon.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take a timeout. When we come back, we'll recap again some of the top stories on the Coles Brown Show. Jackson State and Prairie View, they're warming up a little bit. About 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
They'll be on the field. I think it's going to be dreary and cold like it is in Baton Rouge. This whole southeastern area of the country, Wheeler, I don't know. Baltimore's cold, but man, it's a wet.
It is. Yes,
it's a wet. It's a wet cold
here. We had snow yesterday.
What snow?
Yeah, had about a little dusting, about an inch.
Y'all used to it. Y'all used to it. Remember you said last year Baton Rouge had 9 inches of snow. Man, people were hiding inside. You was like, that's just a little bit.
Little dust.
Not for us. I just saw people just wiping out mailboxes, just driving, and I'm looking out the window scared. I'm like, nope, I'm not going out. We're not used to that, Wheeler. We're not. Oh.
Good time for a snow cone. Make you a good snow cone. Keep it moving.
I was scared to go outside. We'll be back after this timeout. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions. making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown, Willow Brown, AD Willow Brown, Ossie Clark, and Coach Van Pettaway. Update: Alabama State leading Albany State 21-3 right now in the Division II playoffs. Also, let me correct myself: 63-57 was Southern women basketball team over Arizona. I was trying to give them more points there, Coach Coach Pettaway. And go ahead.
No. But at least we know they won. That's the bottom line. Is they did win the game. So that's the most important thing about that. And Coach Funches has been doing an outstanding job, man. Outstanding job since he's taken over that program.
Yeah, I gave him a text message. Keep grinding.
Yep.
Keep grinding. And they still, have some things to work on, but they've got size. They had a lot of transfers that came in. And you remember last time we had him on the show, it was because of winning their first tournament action in the NCAA tournament. And so they've kind of fed off of that. So we'll see them coming up quickly when conference play starts in January. It'll be coming up. I went into the chat room and boy, they have some interesting conversation. Of course, talking about what we were talking about. Some say Hampton will probably hire a celebrity coach like the Jaguars. And a couple of months ago, a year ago, I said Southern wouldn't hire a quote unquote celebrity coach.
Yeah,
I was wrong. And also they talked about would I blow a gasket? Nope, not blowing a gasket. About the hire. I backed the hire, whoever it would have been. I would have backed them also in the hire. They're also talking about strength of schedule. G Boom says Prairie View had a good strength of schedule football wise over Jackson State. And, talking about when Coach Federer, you brought up about the best two teams playing, they were talking about that as well. I think the vote is, according to the chat room, keep the divisions as is. And then also you can vote on the SWAC championship football winner. Last time I looked, it was Jackson State 76%, Prairie View 24%. So you can vote on that, who you think is going to win the 2025 SWAC football championships. With that being said, Ossie, when we look overall at this SWAC football conference season, you had some teams that, of course, had disappointing seasons. I said the most disappointing came down to FAMU and Southern University. That's just my opinion. On the panel, you may disagree. You may say it was some other teams, but as far as disappointing season, who would you say was the most disappointing teams based on expectation, based on what was coming back? Are you muted? I say you're muted.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, Carlos. I'm going to say that the teams that are just mentioned, Southern University and Florida A&M both are the teams that are probably the ones that you look at and you just kind of roll your eyes and say, boy, what a horrible year both of these teams actually have had, especially when they're considered to be the blue bloods in black college football. You were not expecting that. And so at this particular point, to see where both of those programs are, it is a little bit disappointing. Those would probably be my top two. My number one would be Florida A&M, though.
Misery loves company, I say. Only because of reputation, expectations. I understand you can't win a championship every year. I understand that. As Willis say, be in the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a great setting every 5 years, if you could get 2 championships, no matter what sport, I think that's a good thing. And then say you will run up 1 year, and then 1 year you were third. You just didn't get it. But that's just my opinion on that. Those were the most 2 disappointing teams in the conference. And then you could say expectation-wise, Coach Jackson talked a good game, and they backed it up. And
Yeah.
you gotta have a little luck too.
Yeah, you
The
do.
ball bounces this way, the football hits the goal post, goes in, or you miss it. You have to be fortunate too as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did a good job. Gotta give credit where credit's due. The kids played for him, played hard for him, that sort of thing. And like I said, this week will be the tail of the tape. But I mean, even if they should lose today,
Still a good season.
doesn't diminish the fact that they had an excellent year. And so definitely something to build on, something positive to build on, either way it goes.
Willie Bolden says Southern University #1, Austin. Edwin Moore says Southern worst season ever. Didn't win a home game. Emmett says FAMU or Southern most disappointing. If you narrow it down, I guess I would say Southern.
I'm going to go with FAMU, and let me tell you why. The grisly smell of death that comes from actually playing a team that you should beat, called Mississippi Valley State University.
How can we weigh that? How can we weigh that, Coach Pettaway? FAMU had more wins, but they lost to Valley 2 years in a row. Southern didn't win a home game. And the game they won on the road was Valley, and that was by 5 points. Woo. Yeah, I'm gonna still say Southern. Wow. I mean, either or. I said, you can say yay to both sides or nay. I don't know if it's a right or
I would
wrong.
say Southern. I would say Southern overall. You know, I mean, when you compare 2 wins to 5 wins or what have you, there's a significant gap there. And like I said, Southern being a blue blood, and even though FAMU is considered a blue blood also, Southern's blood is normally a little bluer, I would think. Yeah, and so I think it might have been a little bit more expected of Southern. Yeah, and so I would say Southern.
Now I'm gonna throw this out. After year one under Marshall Falk, projected wins. They got a money game, Houston. They go to Prairie View. They go to FAMU. They go to Jackson State. Can you believe this, folks? I think 6 wins is a win
Won't
for
get
next year,
6.
2026. You say you
Won't
won't
get
get
6.
6?
Won't get
We'll come back.
6.
We'll come back and visit that. We'll come back and visit. That's why we got receipts right here. 6. Now I'm saying 6 wins is a success. Normally I say 8 or 9 wins.
First year, Carlos. First year. 8 or
That's
9.
what
First year.
that's in the past what I usually say.
Ooh.
But I'm saying, okay, let me rephrase it. What is a successful season for year one with Coach Falk?
I think if it gets 4, maybe 5, you could call it a good year. I think if it gets 4, you could call it a pretty good year. He's got to come in, Carlos. He got to build this thing almost from scratch. And recruiting is going to be a issue, that sort of thing. I mean, he got a lot of work to do in a short period of time. The off season is very short now. The window is short. And he has very few swings, to miss out on. So he's gonna have to hit some home runs, talent wise, early on.
But and see, Will, what the very thing that you're talking about being a short window. That's why I think that in football they should allow them to play instead of playing a spring game, they should let them play like an exhibition game. Let him play against another school, because in his situation, he needs to be able to evaluate talent right away. And he's not going to be able to do that going against each other. He needs to go against the outside team. And that's why I think in the future for spring football, the NCAA need to really look at that. Let them play a game, one game against another opponent. I think that needs to be looked at. It'll help coaches in evaluate talent.
Heck, how many did the basketball play? 2?
Yeah.
Well, I'm putting up for 2 then.
Oh, well, no. Football's too physical. That's why I say 1. And because, Carlos, if you get somebody hurt in that game, you still got a chance to get them back for the fall. But they need a game to be able to help them evaluate and judge talent.
Well, that's going to be key. And I will break this news. I had a source there talking to the transition team. They've already got 2 commitments from an elite quarterbacks, 2 of them. And off the bat, and let's be honest, it's because of Marshall Falk and his connections. Quarterback situation is going to be very interesting. Those 2 come in, and I think they're ready to go when school starts in January. Then thoughts and prayers still go out to Woods. Now, his uncle on social media said he's going to be back. But you remember, he's had multiple concussions. Then they also have a redshirt freshman, Austin. You probably know the area well from Alexander area. saw him.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir.
So I think the talent is they're going to get the talent. Again, it's going to go back to the staff and what staff that they put together. And then we'll see how it goes. But I just think a successful season, I'm putting the under at 6 wins. But that's just me. And if it's more than that, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be smiling and faking like I'm smoking a cigar.
Carlos, give me some elite linemen and come back and talk to me.
Oh, they're gonna have them. Trust me.
Give me some elite boys up front. Come back and talk to me. Because them other positions, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, they're a dime a dozen. Give me somebody that can keep them clean. And let's revisit the conversation.
We will. We have receipts, and I'm predicting now. Some people not coming back. Some people not coming back. That's the nature of the business. And they have already identified. Look, Stevie Wonder could tell that they needed to upgrade the O-line and D-line. That's just common sense. If you look at. So we'll come back and have this discussion. But now I give credit that conference schedule is tough because it's just reverse. All the teams that you had at home, an attractive schedule. I say you going to them. And I don't want to put out the second year curse, but we've seen in this conference the second year has been deadly for some teams.
For a lot of coaches and a lot of teams.
So I wish Prairie View all of the best. Because now you're going to be the hunted, and of course Jackson State's always the hunted.
And the truth of the matter is, for Prairie View, you're looking at maybe over 30 or 40 players that are going to be leaving that football team this year.
Well, I heard that they just signed 26 people in the early signing period. So
I mean, you're going to be looking at quite a few people that are going to walk across the stage and or just going to be leaving the program whatsoever. And so when you have that many drop-offs, you don't have time to sit there with your head in the locks of your shoulders. You have to get out and move quickly and try to rebuild as quickly as you possibly can.
And speaking of, because we got about 5-6 minutes left. Well, I think we started late. There was a interesting game, and I think it's making its wave on social media. It's St. Augustine High School head coach. Austin, I think you remember this guy.
Robert Valdez.
Right. He's a head coach at St. Augustine. Rich tradition. Catholic school in the Catholic League in New Orleans against John Curtis. John Curtis is known nationwide. I think Coach Curtis has been there 50 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, for a long time.
Well, St. Augustine has made it to the finals. First time in a long time since, I guess, Coach Otis Washington was the coach. Brian has found a video, and I give the franchise award to the play-by-play announcer. When I tell you, was he excited? Was he excited? So, Brian, whenever you can play that for us.
Seconds left. 4 receivers, 3 to the left, 1 to the right. And it's Lewis with Coulon. Back to pass, Coulon, pressure, Coulon. He got him! Touchdown! Touchdown! Blue Pennon! Oh my goodness! The glass ceiling is broken! The Purple Knights, for the first time since 1979, are going to the state championship! My goodness! Who caught that? Derek Bennett for the game winner!
And the band's on the field!
Oh,
boy, going on.
I gotta get him. I gotta get him on the show. I gotta find out. And those are 2 historic football programs, especially John Curtis. You know, been on ESPN playing, that's week 0 in August, playing some of the top teams. But boy, he was excited,
Right. And
to
now,
say
Carlos,
the
I know we
least.
only have a couple more minutes, but update: Albany State is still leading 21-3 with 10 minutes to go in the. Well, that's the second.
I think it's the third, huh?
Yep. Okay, well, maybe jumped in late on me then. Yeah, they're still up. Albany State's still up.
Yeah, and man, they getting it done. Coach Gray at Albany State. You had about 4 or 5 HBCUs in the Division II playoffs. Then they kind of lost in the first round, and see that still goes back FCS playoffs going on. The Dakota, South Dakota State, North Dakota State. They're going to be very tough. Tarleton State is still in the FCS playoffs, but I would just like to see those play against those teams in the regular season, and start winning some of those games. That would be a good thing. But hey, chat room poll results: 70% predict Jackson State to win. I believe they will.
Mm-hmm.
And there we go. Second quarter, Newberry 3, Albany State 21. Go Albany State. They're making a deep run.
Yep.
This time last year, those Jackson have Valdosta State made it to the championship. So whenever we can give kudos to our HBCUs in the playoffs, and that discussion hadn't come up as much with the FCS playoffs, but participating. But then Alabama State, some people on social media was like, man, that would be interesting how well Alabama State would have done if they didn't have the Turkey Day Classic and they go into the FCS playoffs.
Right.
But we'll never know. 3 teams will never say never, but never, Aussie, will participate in the FCS playoffs: Grambling, Southern, and Alabama State.
Yeah.
And going back to the days of Eddie Robinson, Coach Robinson actually decided that he would never get out of the Bayou Classic on a Thanksgiving weekend because Grambling went to Stephen F. Austin and lost to Stephen F. Austin after leading that football game. And Coach Robinson was absolutely furious. He said, I've never been up by that many points to anybody and lost a game. And so he said at this point, he would never change the Bayou Classic just to go play in the FCS playoffs. And that's the reason why Grambling hasn't been back.
I want to say 59-56.
Yes,
I know
sir.
it was a close game.
Close ball game.
And
I think Grambling was up huge going into the fourth quarter.
And I believe Jackson State has been a few times. I think they have a goose egg. So, I would like to see them play in the regular season. You think about Jack State, Alabama State, some of Southern's great teams, but you'll never know. All these years later, I can't get over the game at FAMU. Southern's undefeated. Boy, they gave about 50 points. You'll be in this business long enough, you'll be humbled.
Yes, sir.
And I've been to Tallahassee twice, and Southern's been undefeated and came out. It wasn't even close. I remember that 33-3 game, homecoming. Wasn't even close, Wheeler. Somebody got embarrassed. That was Coach Richardson said. On that note, we've got a couple of minutes left. Closing statements. Anything sports related. Austin, your closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts are going to be probably sentimental. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had, several people within my family and people that I know that have transitioned this life. And if I can leave anything with anybody on today, spend a little bit more time being loving and caring and put all of the malice and disappointments and all of those things away. Because at the end of the day, all you have is the time that's in front of you. You don't know how much time you will have after that moment. So cherish the moments that you have and spend every moment that you can loving one another and caring for one another. Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters.
Well said.
Yep.
Well,
that's what I was about to say. Well said. I concur, Isaac. Good job, man.
It's the holiday season. Everybody needs to be safe. Know the reason for the season, as they say, and let's keep it moving and look forward to continued success all the way around.
Yeah, sometimes I like to be a little facetious. I had sides for Thanksgiving. Didn't have any meat really, except for the sausage and the wonderful green beans.
I heard that.
But every day for me is like you enjoy life because it's not promised. Everybody knows the medical situation I'm going through, but I'm fine. People ask me all the time, "How you doing?" I'm good. I'm good, and I'm blessed to be here and to talk sports. And so I'll be around this time next year.
Yes,
Still
indeed.
talking about Southern University, and I want more than 6 victories. See, I changed my mind, Will, just that quick. I've changed my mind that quick. Expectations and just improving and getting better. And then also, from a basketball standpoint, I hadn't forgot about you guys, both women and men, and the volleyball team. Made it to the finals and lost. So everything is trending up in the athletic department. But I'm still going to say this. You can do more, and we're going to ask more, and you can do it. And if not, I'll be the first one out in the street saying, I need more. Get it done. I'm not going to go on a hunger strike if you don't, but I will be there wherever you go. So I look forward to talking to some of them board members. Let's get them on here. On that note, we want to thank Brian Fulford, who produced for us. Appreciate him as well. Brian, don't worry. It'll be all right. We'll talk. FAMU and Southern. If you're going to get a new coach, go ahead and get it. Now is the time to do it. If not, just wait and ride it out. And all those in the chat room, we appreciate you. Until next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Peace and God bless.